This presentation will cover Kinsey's security reporting for the Lawson S3 applications. So let me jump over to our dashboard and give you an idea of what we're going to present today. So there's a lot of options here simply under LS reporting. And in this presentation we're going to be talking about just the first option, security reporting. The others will be in subsequent presentations. So let's go ahead and start that up. Now we can work with multiple Lawson servers. So if you have a production environment and a development and a test environment, we can work with all those, report against that data for you. So I'll go ahead and pick production. And then I have a variety of different profiles that we might be reporting against. Primarily, people are looking at their forms and table profile, but you also have environment and gen and Logan, and we can report against all of those. So let's go ahead and look at some of the categories we have here, and I'll expand the screen a little bit. So there's really three primary categories. So it's the users, the roles, and the task. And we use task interchangeably with security class to avoid some confusion. And then we have some statistics and metadata. And the last column, listener, is really for our activity monitor application that shows you activity within the application. And we put it on this reporting menu because we share some of the same functionality. For this presentation, we're really going to focus on the first three, which are users, roles, and tasks. So let me just show you the base functionality about how all of these queries work and how they export and how you save reports. And what I'm going to show you is going to be true for every option that you see here. So let me just start with role, task, and form. So we'll first start out with how we can build filters initially when we want to pull the data. So if I want to select a specific role, I can select equals and put in the role name, and I'll just simply pull the data for that role. I can do a contain statement. You'll see starts with, ends with. So if it's maybe everything that ends with the word admin or ends with supervisor, you can pull all those. I can do ranges, or I can do an advanced where I'm going to pull in and build a list of your available roles. I can do the same thing for your available tasks and your forms. From here I can simply click on them and add them. I can add a range of them. I can do contains or starts with. So maybe it's everything that contains the word AC or starts with AC. I can add those. So there's a lot of ways I can build up my selected list. I can remove all these and just simply go back to I want all. Same thing for your task. It'll build a list for you. And now out of here, maybe I can name the word manage, and I'll get all my management tasks. It'll be included in the query. For this purpose, I'm going to remove everything so you can see a bigger query and go back to all. And again, I can do the same thing for the forms. And I'll just go ahead and run this report. So it's going to pull into our grid the information that we asked for. Now I can show and hide some additional information here. So you see I primarily have the names of the roles and the task and the form, but maybe I also want the form description, I want a task, or maybe a role description. And maybe I don't have many of those. I'll go with the task description and see what we have. And if I have inheritance, I have based on, so it would be an inherited policy. And if I have role overrides, but I'll take those off for here. So we can see more data on our screen. I can resize these columns like you would in most applications. Now I've got filters already out here. I can show this criteria up in the right hand corner again, and I could decide I want to pull less data. I could add queries in here and rerun the report. I'll go ahead and work with it the way it is. Now I can sort on any of these columns simply by clicking on the column header, and it'll resort. If I want to sort by form, I can do that here, and I can see where AC01 and everywhere that it lives. I can also put on filters. So maybe I want to come down here and I want to say I want to know it starts with maybe HR11. So I'll say filter on that, and I'll see everywhere I have down every task and every role HR11 is assigned to and what the rule is. So kind of a quick and easy way just to look at a specific form or program if you just want to look at HR11 and pull that data in. So let's go ahead and clear this filter and show you a couple other options. So I have all these filters on any of these columns where I can pull by descriptions, I can filter just on function codes, anything you want to filter on. So let's show you, we also have what's called grouping. So I might want to make this a little more summarized and easy to look at. Maybe I want to group this by role. So let's go ahead and put the role up at this level. So now I can see a list of all my roles. And let's also layer up that and group by task. So now I can see AC Accountant has 9 task or security classes, and within each one of those I can expand it out and I can see what forms live within that. I can of course sort by form, so I can go back to AC Accountant, I can look here and I can see sorted up the way I want to see it. So this is another easy way just to do grouping and simply see kind of from the tree on the top down or bottom up. If I wanted to come back, I can remove these groupings and say maybe I want to group by form and then by task. I want to look at this from a bottom up perspective. So now I can see AC01.5 lives in 5 tasks, and this task lives in these 2 roles. So now I can kind of reverse up the tree on the LDAP tree to see how my security lives. So let's go ahead and I'll remove these. And we'll go back to our original view here. And let me go back and group by role. So now I might want to know who has assignments to this role. So what I can do is I can drill on any of these links and I can go back to user role. So if I want to see who's assigned to AC Accountant, I don't have to go out and build another query. I can just go back and we'll open another sheet for you here on your browser, another page, and we'll tell you all the users that have this role assigned to them. From there, if you want to drill back down through the model and see what else does H Rogers have assigned to them, I can look at just their roles, I can look at all their tasks, or I can look at all objects, which would be their forms, their tables, their programs. But I'll just look at the task level. And we'll see here now that I'm going to get, this is quickly a way I can navigate through these, and if you notice at the top I have multiple pages open on my browser, so I can go back to any one of those queries at any time and start back to where I was. So now if I want to I wonder how many roles Rogers has. If I do a grouping, I'll get a count of 45, and if I want to know what's in any role, I click on it and I say give me the, oh that's the role, give me the, I can go to, let me do it this way, let me go to a task and say show me what's in that task. So I'll go to task form and I'll see, oh that doesn't have any, not a very good use of, let me see if I have something here. I'll go to AC Analysis, go to task form, and I'll see all the forms that live and the rule that lives within that task AC Analysis. Right? And I can go back this way and say show me every role that AC Analysis is assigned to. So you can see you can go up and down throughout the tree any way you want to work within this, and it depends on what you're looking for. So I'm all the way back to my initial query. So I've seen how I can do grouping. I can group again I can group in any of these sequences, any of these column headers, to see maybe what I have out in the system and see how assignments are made. So let me go ahead and close this out. So you can see I can do this back at the user level. So maybe I just want to do user role and see what my role assignments are. Again, we're going to read all your users for you. You can pick what user. Maybe I want us to add them all. And I could have just done, I wouldn't have to do it that way, but I'll go ahead and pick them all and just say run. And I'll get my user role assignments. Again, I can drag up here, see what the 18 that B. Thomas has, or I can say group by role, and I can say show me everybody assigned to AC clerk, right? AC asset clerk. So kind of nice, and again, I can drill up and down. So again, same functionality within all of the queries that we have built. So I can just go back to my home page here, and I'll see all my different queries. Now, when you run a report, you might also want to save this so you have it for the future. So if I wanted, maybe I just want a role task, I'll go out here and say I want to have maybe I have a couple users that I always, let me go back, let me go user. I have a couple users that I always want to look at data for. So maybe I have a finance group, and in that finance group are, I don't know, these 4 people. So I'm going to go ahead and run this, and I'll pull what their assignments are, at least at the user role task level. And I like that report, so I'm going to save this, and I'm going to call this a finance group security report. And I won't put a description in here, but I'll just go ahead and save this. And so now if I go back to my home page and I look at my saved reports here, I have a saved report icon at the top. We're going to see a list of saved reports, and I have a finance group report right here that I just added. So I can simply click from here and run the report here, and any filters that I had are already built in. And again, if I wanted to change this, I'll have this report. I could show criteria up here in the right hand corner. I could add or remove users from this, resave the report, and I have it overridden. So very easy to run saved reports. Now what I also might want to do is maybe I want this on a schedule. So If I come back to my saved reports and I just right click and I say schedule, you can easily set up new schedules, but I'm going to use an existing schedule. Say I want to run this at the end of the week. It's going to run on a Saturday, and I want it emailed to the finance group, and I'm going to go ahead and save this. And what we're going to see here is a report with a gray clock, and you see the blue clocks. The gray clock simply tells me that a schedule has been put in place, but it needs to be activated by the administrator of the reporting tool. So that would be an admin function back on the other part of our dashboard that I won't go into, but it's simply, if you have credentials, you simply look up this report, you tell it to activate it, and this clock turns blue, and now that report will be emailed out every week. So the scheduling and saving reports is something that's very simple to do. So let me go back to where we were, back to the original dashboard. Now we've also built in a couple of nice features for allowing you to run historical reports and to do historical comparisons. So at any point in time, you can run a snapshot and save it of how your current security settings are made. So if you're going to make a bunch of security changes and you just want to save how it currently exists, you can simply go to the admin panel and lock in your current security settings for reporting purposes. We pull that data into our tables. All of this data actually runs against our SQL tables and not directly against LDAP. We made a decision we didn't want to hit LDAP directly because of the amount of users that might be running these reports. So we took the impact off of the LDAP server. We pull the data once a night on a schedule, but it can be run on demand at any point. So if you're making a number of changes throughout the day and you say, okay, I want to see them in my reporting now, just go out and run that scheduled task. It takes 15 minutes, depending on the size of your model, it can take 5 minutes to 20 minutes to run, and you'll have a new set of data to run reports on. Now, what we can do though is we can schedule historicals to run also on a monthly basis. However, maybe you only want to run it once a year. Depends on kind of how often you do your security reviews. So if you've done a review and you've run your reports and it's been signed off on, the idea is the next time you do a review, it'd be nice to know just what changed since the last time we did a review, and it might really shorten the amount of time you have to spend on that project to review those security settings. So what we allow you to do is a couple things. One, you could just go out and simply run reports back against, and I'd have as many snapshots as I have defined here will show up in a list, and you can delete those also, again, on the administration panel. Anytime you want to delete a snapshot, you can. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up. These will be my security settings, and again I have all these different profiles I can select from. So from now I have all my reports from that point in time. So if I run a user role task report, it's going to be as it existed. In this case I'm running from 12.4, and I can run those same filtering options. I have all the same functionality, and you'll see it's labeled up here from 12.4, and this is how my security existed from that point in time. So it's nice to be able to have a schedule that sets these up and saves them, so you always kind of know what your security was back from maybe the last time you did a security review. Now I also can do a comparison against those. So if I go back to my original version, I'm going to go and I'm going to, working from within my current version, I have to start my current version. I'm going to tell it I want to compare back to a prior version. So if I go back to user role, I can tell it I want to run and compare this against the snapshot was met on 12.4 and tell me what has changed since then. And you see what I have is basically just one change where the function was delete, and I deleted a role from F. Nelson, and this is a role I deleted. And that's all that's changed in my security model at the user role level. Now I might have had form changes, but that was the only role assignment that changed. So I might want to come back here. You could do a user all objects and you'll see every change in the impact all the way up to the user. That's going to take a while to run. So what I really want to do is I'm just going to go out to, let's say, role task. No, we'll go to task form. Let's run this one. And I just want to see what has changed in any of my task or security classes since I ran this. And I didn't do the comparisons. Let me drop this down, run comparison, rerun that report. Otherwise it's just a current report. And we'll see what's changed. So I have 4 changes here. So what I see is I've added in HR 11.3, I added that to HR setup inquiry and HR setup, and I changed HR 11.1 and 2 in the HR setup task. And you can see the available function codes. My current rule is inquiry on 1 and it'd be page up, page down, inquiry, next, previous, P&M. And I can come out to the right and I can see what my historical was historically it had been all access. So that was changed from all access to these settings sometime between when the snapshot was taken and now. And that's really what I'm trying to see. So maybe now I want to run this at a more detailed level. Who has access to HR setup inquiry? And if I ran this all up at the user level, any user that had access to a role, that had access to this task, would show up with those changes. So that's really what I'm trying to get to. Now, if you want to know the detail about who made this change, when was it made, that kind of information, that would be in our security auditing application. The purpose of this is to show you what's changed since my last security review, so you have an easier way to kind of go back and see and do your review of your settings so you don't have to review the entire model. So I'll go ahead and close that out. But I think that just about does it. So again, I don't have to go through all of this functionality. You can kind of get an idea and the number of queries that we have built here. A couple nice things that we've added in for auditing purposes: if you have Lawson's HR payroll, we can run reports that are users that are active but terminated. So generally, talking to auditors and our customers, the internal auditors or external want to know if you have users that are still set up in Lawson but they've been terminated as employees. Right? We want to monitor those because we probably want to get them out of the LDAP model. So we'll give you a list of any of those people. So we reach actually into your HR system, HR payroll, and we look at termination dates. Now we also have user active no employee record. So that could be like consultants. Like if you had a Kinsey consultant doing the work for you, then you want to get a list of all those people that have access to Lawson, but they're not actually employees of the organization. We'll give you that list as well. So there's some things like that we have. We also have the orphans. You'll see like what we call orphans, users without roles. We have roles without tasks, roles without users. You may have some things laying out there that you don't need. So we show you, unassigned objects, unassigned tasks. There's all kinds of things. Maybe you have new forms that have come out that they're not assigned to any. An object could be a form, a table, a program, and it's not assigned to any security classes. We'll tell you what those are, so you may have to get those set up. But with that, I think that just about covers it. We have some other statistical and metadata that we can always get into with a more detailed demo. We have some other presentations out at Kinsey.com if you go to the product info page, and you can certainly get PowerPoints and literature on this, the reporting tool as well out there. Thank you.